But because I wrote about 6 years back, I suppose, so it has come to English now.
I thought I'll read out a little passage because Sudhaji, I had requested her to read it, but she doesn't like to read. And
I only write, I said I don't read.
so, you won't get a sense of the book unless we'll talk a little bit about this particular book, and then we'll also throw it open to the audience because I know all of you have many questions to ask her. But just to give the sense of it, this is the first of the two novellas. It's this, the hero, the main character is called Venkatesh. Venkatesh hardly heard her. He was still pondering over why his father was known by a different name. He asked Bhagava, "What was your husband's name?" "Setu, that's what everybody called him. I also used that name during our marriage rituals." This is an abandoned wife of this young man discovers that he has a brother and that his father had abandoned his earlier wife. Venkatesh noticed that she didn't blame the man who had left her pregnant and alone. He probed further. What did Champaka call her son at home? Venkatesh still hoped to discover that maybe this man was not his father after all. "Bala," she said simply. Yes, it was him. Venkatesh had no doubt anymore. Tears were flowing down Bhagava's cheeks. Knowing his father, Venkatesh was sure he must have kept some souvenir of his old life. He asked, "Abba, what did your family give Setu during the wedding?" "We were really poor at that time. I think Uncle Gopal gave him 100 rupees as dowry and a ring." "What kind of ring?" "A gold ring with the letter Bha written in Sanskrit." So this is how this man discovers this. He goes, a lot of the stories are set around Hubli. He goes there and he finds a lookalike, a Hamshakal, and the story unravels. And as I said, it's a beautifully crafted story. And then I'll give you a little sense of the second story, so that when she talks
second
about
story at that end, I think I liked it. "Whosoever is my mother, I belong to India." You know, that is the word. But
the last paragraph of the book ends like this. She stood up and went in search for him. She found him standing outside on the balcony gazing at the sky. Silently, she came up from behind, touched his shoulder and put an arm around his waist. "You may be anybody's son, but you'll always be my husband," she said. So they are very, very, very moving and touching books. So the first question I want to ask Sudhaji is that, there's a bit of the Mahabharata in these. There's a feeling of Karna and Kunti with less pressure on the Varnashrams. And then there's the foster mother theme, like Yashoda Maya, Lord Krishna. So what Sita, Janak, the epics, did their epics and their treatment of the theme influence your perceptions?
I work in social field, and I have seen many people come to me and tell them, "Look, we don't have children, will you help?" It is like, you are a financial consultant, you are a marketing consultant. In my case, I'm, I think, an orphanage consultant or something, that kind. So when people come and say, my own students, "Ma'am, we don't have children, we want to adopt, will you suggest?" Because I know many orphanages where children are born abandoned, and sometimes, or many times, I know the reason why they have been abandoned. And I connect these children to really good parents, who want to bring up the child. And later I wonder, this in my mind, what the child thinks of his or her biological parents. And I have found out, invariably, when they grow up and they come to know they have been adopted, they will ask this question, "Who is my biological mother?" More than a father, they ask, "Who is my biological mother? And why did she abandon me?" A sense of betrayal comes. Why did she abandon me? And what is the reason? And they always want to search the biological mother. Sometimes yes, sometimes they may not find. And if you are economically successful, then you feel it was good that she gave me an adoption because I could lead a better life. And if you are very sensitive, then that grudge remains that she abandoned me, she abandoned me. it is left to the child's psychology, probably a sense of gratitude or sense of understanding why mother leaves the baby. It's not easy for a mother to leave a baby in real life. I have seen many unwed mothers in my work. It is very hard for a mother to leave the child. But when she does that, there is really a reason for that, and the child will not understand. The child only gets upset that she has abandoned me. So I realize that a child is always in quest or search of a mother, and when he or she meets the mother, once they realize, then I think there will be peace inside. And that is one of the reasons that I have done in this novel, that Mukesh, who is the hero of the novel, second novel, he goes and searches. He has not only one, he has altogether 3 mothers. And it's like a detective story. That's what you were telling me yesterday. And he realizes that it was good my mother gave me away. Otherwise, I would have been a gunda, I would have been a spoiled child, I would have been an uneducated person. But my adopted mother actually gave me a better life. I'm sure Krishna, though Devaki gave him birth and adopted by Yashoda, he was always Yashoda Nandana than Devaki Putraha, because he learned all the tactic, all the knowledge, how to behave, how to manage everything from his adopted mother Yashoda. So he's always Yashoda Putraha, I will always say that one.
Another thing about this book is that the cover, you can't see it from here so closely, but you know, at first you think it's just a sari and a lady with crossed legs in that. You look closely and the 2 feet are very different. One foot clearly belongs to a richer, more comfortably positioned woman, and the other one is a foot of somebody who's having a more difficult time. It's a foot that has walked barefoot on the earth. And you know, this in a way is almost the story of Sudha Murty ji's appreciation of life, that while she has the ability to live with privilege and contentment in that world, she's always seeking out the larger world of less privileged people and reaching out to them. So if you'd like to tell us a little about what is the sort of social work you do, which the orphanages, the things that leads to these stories and their inspirations.
You know, I mean, I was brought up in a middle-class family. My father was a doctor and a professor. And I come from a family of teachers. I was married into a family of teachers. My father-in-law was a teacher. My sister-in-law was a teacher. My brother-in-law is a professor. Only odd man out is my husband, Narayan Murthy, went for a business. Money was something sufficient, but it was not like too much money for us. I always enjoyed the company of books because of my background. When, you know, we're lucky and God was kind to us when I got this enormous amount of wealth, I felt, what is the use of that? Because to be happy in life, you do require money. I don't deny you don't require. But other than that, you don't require really too much money. It is a wrong concept that, you know, money is proportional, directly proportional to your happiness. Really, it is not true. Happiness is, you do require money. I don't say you don't require, but to some extent, and there should be a line for that. Enough is enough. That line only you can draw. No book can tell you, no video can tell you, no movie can tell you. You have to draw a line, how much money you require. More than that, it becomes a burden actually. And that money, what you should do? I remember my grandfather taught me Kathopanishad when I was 10 years old, and I never realized the meaning of that. I used to tell, oh, this old man teaches me all the Sanskrit shlokas. What are the use of that in real life? Actually, I appreciate all those shlokas were very useful to me later part of my life. So kids who are sitting, who are my major audience here today, I want to tell you, when your elders tell you something, you may not appreciate when you are young, but it's so important when you grow up. When money came to me, I suddenly realized the last 8 stanzas of Kathopanishad, Danam, Priyavak Sahitam, Shraddha hi Danam, Ashraddha na Danam, and the many, many shlokas on Dana. When you have money more than what your plate can hold, then how money can be spent? One is in bhoga, you spend a lot of money on yourself. but it's of no use after some time you get bored. It is like eating salt, you require a lot more water to drink. And if you don't use that money, then your future generation will destroy themselves with a lot of money and no work. And if you do not want A and B, the third one is you have to give away the money for the society, not for your relatives. Oh, I built a house for my sister-in-law, my brother. It is not a dana. Dana is to someone who is not related to you. And by your dana, the person can change his or her life. The person who is on the street, who is not related to you, you should give away. It is not that I will scratch your back and you scratch mine. There will be wound on your back at the end. So, you have to give away the money to the less privileged people in your country, in your world, wherever you are, and see that your money is spent in a proper way. And that is the reason in Kathopanishad it says, Shraddha hi danam. If you believe in this principle, then only you give, not for the name's sake, not for the award's sake. You should really believe, you should give away. Second thing is, Ashraddha hi na danam. If you don't believe, don't give. And when you want to give, take this money, get lost. You should never do that. Danam priyavak sahitam. You should talk well and wish, and you should give. Actually, I have written an article or a column in my book, Red Rice Granary. In that I talk about how I learned this quality from my uneducated grandmother and educated grandfather, why we should do dana, and how we used to do dana in our own way. It helped me a lot. So I always respect and acknowledge with great gratitude my grandparents who taught me the basics of dana, my parents who gave me a great education. I joined engineering college in 1968. Can you imagine? There was not a single engineering, there was a girl in engineering college and the university. But they told me that Vidya is the ultimate thing in life. So these values helped me a lot later part of my life when I had enough money on my plate to spend in a proper way.
Sudhaji's novels, Dola Bahu, Mahashweta, Gently Falls the Bakula, and The House of Cards. In all these books, she evokes small-time life and the rural landscape of Karnataka with intense sympathy. You feel, I've been to Bangalore, but I have not traveled across rural Karnataka, but I know it from her books. What strikes me is the groundedness of your narrative in the soil and landscape of Karnataka, Hubli, Dharwad, Shimoga. You write in Kannada as well as English. What are your inspirations and influences on this?
I grew up in a small town in the northern Karnataka, and I was great depth. My roots are so deep there. I grew up in Hubli, and actually I spent majority of my time when I was a child in a village where there was no electricity. There was no electricity and theatre and TV, and the only way in those days was reading. So before the sunset, I think we should finish our dinner and read, and then recite, or whatever we have read, we will exchange. We were 13 first cousins. So my grandfather will tell after the dinner, okay, come on, let us talk something about literature today. And that's how the door of literature was opened to me. I remember he used to teach us Kalidasa, and maybe 9 years old, I think. I have done Ritu Samvara, Kalidasa, Raghuvamsha, Kumara Sambhava, and all within 12, I think before teenage I finished all those. And once the shloka came that Artho hi kanya paraki, oh, daughter is the deposit of others. And immediately I stopped and told my grandfather, you can never call a daughter as a deposit. Deposit is non-living, a daughter is a living. He said, beta, please understand, it was written by Kalidasa in 4th century, 5th century. But I would resist whenever it comes to any girl treating less than a boy. Probably that rebel within me, I think, shaped my future as well, that I will not accept that you are a gender difference. And I grew up in a smaller town. When there's a rainy season, other people will curse, but whereas I used to sit in the veranda and I observe rain, the smell of the mud, and the breeze and the flower, the blooming of the flower, everything is to really enchant in me. And I used to feel so happy, as if I have got a lottery ticket. I said, oh, let rain come, let me smell that, let there is a wind. So everything in nature I used to enjoy. So when I started writing, all my heroines, after all, who are these heroines? They are my imagination. They are my Manasa Putri. They are born in my mind, in my brain. So all these girls have to come from my cradle of Hubli, Dharwad, speaking Kannada, and later they go to America, they go anywhere else, later they are different. But their birth or their childhood has to be that, because that's very dear to my heart. And for a writer, I'm sure many writers will agree here, it is not for anyone's sake we write. We write because writing is an expression. It is an expression of sorrow, happiness, disappointments, boredom, everything is in terms of writing. I write because I enjoy. I really enjoy writing. And I wrote all my novels, first always in Kannada. My novels will be always in Kannada, and my columns will be always in English. When I write my novels, I will write with pen and paper in a shorthand, because my CPU of the brain and IO device of my hand are not matching. They will be slow, so I do in a shorthand. But when I write in English, I write on computer. Every novel takes 2 to 3 years, because I know I conceive that, then I go on thinking about it. Every day, though I'll be talking, I will do my work, I travel, all those work I will do, but it is inside my brain, I will be always developing. And I normally like to write it so near perfection to the reality that people should mistake it has happened to somebody, it has happened to them, it has happened next door. For example, House of Cards, I described a village known as Aladahalli. There is no that kind of a village at all, but I described so perfectly. 30 kilometers from here, take a right turn, there is a pond, there is a mango grove, there is a pomegranate tree, there is a swing. Actually, nothing is there. It's all my imagination. But make it so perfect that when you read, it should be so real. That is my way of writing. So I enjoy writing, bring it to near perfection, and then only a reader can relate. Otherwise, a person in the Mars, people do write, there's nothing wrong, but I can't write. That is not my strength. How they live, I don't know. So my experience is solidified in that area of Hubli and Dharwad of northern Karnataka.
So I want to share with the audience that I had a fascinating conversation with Sudhaji about 2 days ago. And I was telling her about the Crime Writers Festival that I had just organized in Delhi. And immediately her eyes lit up and she got this very mischievous smile in her face. And we both realized that the kind of construction she does in her novels, because detective novels have to be, the plot has to be beautifully lead on from one thing to the other, yet leave the reader a little puzzled. So I want all of you to give a clap to the future detective novel I know she will write. You might, right?
No, I think I prefer to write for children, I think, more than that, because, I don't know, I've never tried my hand detective novel. Maybe I require 5 years to plot. Let me think it over.
Because, you write about society so much. There is such a deep understanding of different levels of society. But to change the point a little bit, I was at a reading with Sudhaji in Delhi some 2 years ago or something. And the most fascinating part of the conversation for me was when she talked about her grandmother. And there was so much love and passion when you told me about her, and when you did her last rite, how you taught her to read, so many things. Yes. I personally, this is for me, and I'm sure the audience will also love to share more about your grandmother.
Okay, I think you are a grandmother, Namita.
Huh?
I think you are a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother, yes, I have a little granddaughter.
Well, I'm sure everyone loves their grandmother, because parents are strict, grandparents are not. They're the common enemy, I think, for both of them, I suppose. I had 2 grandmothers, father side and a mother side, and they influenced me a lot in life. Both were uneducated, never went to school. But they saw that I will go to school. Okay. My father's side grandmother was was a very adventurous lady. Maybe I have some genes of her. And the kind of a social work she used to do. In South India, when you become a widow, in olden days, I'm talking about 60, 70 years back. She became a widow maybe around 80 years back. They used to wear a white sari. They have to eat once a day. There are many restrictions. And she had this hobby of helping. She was like a midwife, helping people in delivery. I really appreciate her courage. She never went to school, but she used to conduct deliveries. She might have conducted more than 100 deliveries around my village, and she was known as the mother of 100 children. I did write, may you be the mother of 100 children or 100 sons or something about her, that she went to deliver a woman actually, a couple used to work for us, very poor couple, and Pirambi was a Muslim farmer working with us. Pirambi was his wife, and how she went and conducted the delivery, and with such great courage in the night. And I followed her, and she told me to sit outside. And when you are a child of 8, 10 years and you have to sit outside and something is going on inside, you become more curious to know. And how she conducted the delivery, and after that she came back, took bath and performed as usual puja, ritual and etc. And her two facets of her life, I have seen an extremely orthodox Brahmin lady and a very liberal social worker. And I like the second portion, a very liberal social worker, and that she has influenced me. And other grandmother never went to school, but a very, very bright lady. She knew what is what in life. She used to tell me, in life, nothing comes with you. Nothing comes with you except what you did, good deeds. And please remember, in life, you should help people. That is very important, because in Sanskrit she used to tell, because she used to hear Sanskrit a lot in the house, that na swaranam, na udakam, she used to tell, nothing, no water, no gold, no silver, no land comes with you, beta. What comes with you is what you help others. So these two people really influenced me a lot, and to lead an extremely simple life. My grandparents were very well off, but they led a very simple life. She had only 3 saris. She was a rich lady with 3 saris. She used to tell, no, we don't require. You don't require so many. The simplest, to be very happy in life is to be very simple. To be very simple, is an attitude towards life. It is not that I make an effort. It is an attitude towards life to be simple. Because there is no end to wants. Limit your wants. You should have food, a shelter, to read, books, travel, etc. And if you lead a simple life, your next generation will lead the same way. You don't require any role model in life, because role model you can see once in a while. Parents are role models to children. The way you are, your children follow. That way, how my grandparents were, I followed. So please, I request, in case any parents are here, please remember, you lie, your children will lie to you when you are old. You spend money where it is not needed, your children will bring you a debt. What you behave, that can be reflected with your children. So you are the makers of your children's future.
I have a long list of questions which I had brought with me to ask Sudhaji, but I am going to put some of them aside, because I can sense that there are many in the audience who would like to have a direct interaction. So I think we throw the floor open for questions. Young ladies, first you go and give the mic here. One, and the next mic will go there. And then, so we've got 4, so let's...
Please be brief. Only one question to each person.
One question.
No compliment to me, please.
Short question.
Short question.
Ma'am, even in today's world, when a growing girl is compared to Sita and all, and they believe that if she's growing, she's crossing the boundary as Sita did, and she's creating problem for herself, even today.
No, I didn't get your question at all. Tell me again.
I mean, a growing girl is considered as crossing the line, and thus creating problem for herself at times.
About Lakshmi and Rekha.
Oh, Lakshman Rekha.
yeah.
Actually, if you want historical or poetically, you want to know, there was no Lakshmana Rekha in original Ramayana at all. It was created later by people. If you read original Ramayana, there is no Lakshmana Rekha. Lakshmana says, don't go because we do not know we are in the forest. To Sita, later with the imagination, people started writing Lakshmana Rekha was drawn. Anyway, so it is a, women should also know certain things. I said you should be courageous, but you should also know certain limitation. That is my way, entirely my way of thinking. For example, when I was young, I used to travel continuously by train, by road, by taxi, etc. But after 10 o'clock in the night, I will say, no, I don't want to travel alone. Okay, I don't want, so, because it's not that I was not capable, but I should take care, nothing should happen to me. You should be courageous, but you should also know your limitation. Because only men and women are equal in many ways, but in some ways women are more superior, I call, because they are better managers. Men in this hall should really excuse, they think they are very powerful. It is women who are more powerful because they are better managers. They have more capacity. Also, nature makes them. For example, only woman can deliver, men cannot deliver. So because of this, also woman has many responsibility, also many limitations. Okay, these are the physical limitations. So the Lakshmana Rekha, we should draw ourselves where we should go, where we should not go, given set of circumstances. Okay, a place like Sweden, I suppose, when I was in Sweden, somebody said if you travel after 12 o'clock in the night, you have to pay half charges to the taxi person. I was very happy. I took taxi only after 12 o'clock in the night because that was Sweden. There you can count people. But in Delhi, I can't do that. After 10 o'clock, I can't do that. So you should know your limitation and your pluses. And for that, you should at times learn by somebody's experience, at times parents' experience, at times your own judgment and maturity. Please remember, nobody is Sarvajna or knows everything. But you should know certain areas where you should not venture when you are alone. This is my way of thinking.
There is a very, excuse me, there's a very young boy there.
Yeah.
And
Please
so let's get what is your name and how old are you?
My name is Pranav Thariwal. I'm 11 years old.
Okay, so
You are
please-
11 years old. Yeah. My God. People like you make me rich by buying my book.
So what is your question?
I read your book Grandma's Bag of Stories, and I just wanted to know that if you wrote a second part of that book, I would really like to have it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sit down better. Actually, I wrote it for my granddaughter Krishna because my granddaughter is away from me. Every day I cannot tell her stories. So I wrote, and I really want to write better. Unless I am convinced, I can't write. People say, why can't you write every year a book? I said, no. I should feel that feeling inside. It should come from here. It should come here and it should come here. Jokes. Then I will write. So I want to write another part, but it will take another year or two. Let me think it over on that. Thank you.
I think the mic is there, yeah. If you could give your name as well. We don't need to know your age.
Particularly not to women, never ask that. Okay.
I'm Nidhish Goyal. Ma'am, please share your meeting experience with Jamshedji Tata and then how you get a job in Tata's.
Okay, please sit down, please. It is not Jamshedji Tata. I never saw him. He died in 1910 or something, you know. Okay, or 1900. Okay, I was born after 50 years of his death or something, so I have never seen him. However, my experience with the JRD Tata, both are different. Both are different. And I think you have read Grandma's Apro JRD article, still it is on viral, I suppose. You have read that, and I don't want to tell it again because we have a shortage of time. You have seen that why I wrote a letter to him, he called me for an interview. It is in the book also. So I rather like to take questions than what I have already written. Please excuse me. It is in the book. It is not that you have to buy my book. You can go on internet and also you can see that. Okay.
In the front row, my dear, your name is
Hello, ma'am.
Child is here.
Ma'am,
Okay,
I'm
no,
Priya.
young child, she's...
My preference is to youngsters.
Just a minute. Oh, sorry.
Yes, beta. You are a boy, you can tell your age.
what's your name first?
What is your name?
My name is Aditya Dangayach. I'm for SMS. What is your first book's name?
Next book's name.
Your first book's name.
First book name. Okay, please sit down. I have written in, my first books were in Kannada, and then I translated my books in English. Then they were translated. Once it came in English, it came in many Indian language. I have 156 titles actually, but I have only 24 books. I have 156 titles. My first book was Kannada, and the translation is From Beyond Atlantic. I traveled on a backpack in 1979, whole America with a minimum money. Thanks to Narayan Murthy, we had a very small salary of $300 or $400, and $100 he kept and gave me remaining money. And there's nothing great today's way. If you look at it, nothing great in that. But a girl from a smaller town, 40 years back, going around country, I didn't have any single relative in those days there. And that is my first travelogue. My first novel was Gently Falls Bakula. And my first children book is Magic Drum. My first technical book is Computer and Its Wonders. My first experience of Infosys Foundation is Wise and Otherwise. I'm wise in my work, social work, otherwise I really do not know the world.
Ma'am, I'm a working mother of a 3-year-old and I love my daughter very dearly.
Like all mothers do.
However, there is obviously a dilemma that we face in our day-to-day life, which is not the question. The question is this, you said how I behave will reflect in my daughter's behavior as she grows. But I'm not with her a lot of time. I try, that's why I've even moved to this town so that she's with her grandparents when I'm not around. So what is the way to deal with it? If I want to make sure she grows up well and I behave well.
No, I do agree because nowadays all women have to work for various reasons. They have to work. I was also a working lady for a long time.
I know.
You have to leave your children. In my case, I left my daughter with my parents when she was 50 days old.
I'm aware of that.
And I have picked her up after 5 years. She never knew I was her mother. I do understand. And women have to do this juggling, balancing life everywhere in the world, not only in India. Actually, we are very fortunate in India. Your in-laws, your parents, somebody is with us, somebody is nearby, and we have to take their help. You know, in other countries, actually I feel it's more difficult in US. India, I feel much more comfortable. You have people, and you have to do some compromise initially when children are growing up. Like I always took a smaller job when my children were small, young, you know, teaching, etc. When they were adults, then I took my full-time job. You have to do that compromise sometimes until they are about 7-8 years.
So I hope she doesn't grow up with the feeling that the mother I never knew.
No, it won't happen. Okay, whatever weekend you get, you have to spend all the time with them. Every evening you have to spend, so you have to take all your time on that.
How much more time? I think I'll leave it to Sudha ji to decide who should be asked, because you connect and you tell us.
Okay,
you
tell
do
me.
that. It'll be simpler.
Namaste, ma'am. I'm Dr. Shweta Singh.
Tell me.
Yeah, ma'am, it's said in Sanskrit that Putra kuputra bhavati, Mata kumata na bhavati. If a son or a daughter does a mistake, it is always counted. But what about when a mother does a mistake?
Okay. Kuputro jayate, kumata na bhavati. You can bring up children up to the age of 14 or 15 to, you can tell them, you can teach them, you can model, you can tell. But after some time, you don't have any say, because they will grow in a different environment. They go to school, meet friends, meet teachers. They have their own circle. So their ideas will be different after certain age. So you can bring them up to certain age and they can imbibe the basic things. Later you do not have a say. That's the reality. When this verse was written, Kuputro jayate, kumata na bhavati, that time the interaction with the society was much less. So whatever you say, 100% where they were your children. Today, in today's environment, that is really not true. To great extent you can do. Once they are out of your range, they go abroad, they go to other city and study, and then they imbibe many values from everywhere. You don't have much say. You have to accept then whatever is that. That's the only way you have to do. Yes, beta. Anybody. No, she's asking like Sri you are asking.
There are 7 children up here.
Fast.
Listen, we don't want to waste any time on this,
Yeah, yeah.
so just hurry up.
Good morning, ma'am. You said that we should, like, to live a happy life, we should live a simple life. And then we should have an attitude for living a life. To live a simple life, what do you mean by living simple life? Like following our hobbies and passions and that?
I didn't get question for them.
What do you define a simple life as?
Simple life, okay.
I think
I'll
that
tell
was
you,
the question.
Very nice formula, okay? What you think, what you conceive here, you should think that. What you think here, you should talk. There should be a single line between your conceiving, you are thinking, and you are talking. What I talk, I don't mean it. What I don't mean, I talk. What in my mind, I will not tell. All these things are more complicated. When you tell truth, truth alone has only one father because you don't have to remember. When you don't remember, when you lie, you have to remember many things. You have to cover it up. So that is my definition of simple is what it is there, you should do exactly what you decide is right. Yeah.
And that women, as you say, have more power. So I feel that even for making a marriage, they have more commitment and more this thing. So the children, I mean, looking after children, please you base your novel on that.
Thank you for the suggestion. I should feel that way, then I will write.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
here
you.
Yes,
my
children,
idea is let two,
Yeah,
three
yeah,
of them
children.
ask together.
Okay.
One word, and then you reply together.
Yeah.
Each of you quickly give your
Quickly.
questions. You know, in front, those of you in the back cannot see, but there's a group of school children here and they all have their hands up.
Okay, better fast.
I am Riddhi Goyal and I am from SMS. We have this supplementary book of yours, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. The stories are, ma'am, awesome. Ma'am, like Heart of Gold. Ma'am,
Better ask your question. What is your question?
ma'am, can you give some tips so that we can write so beautifully?
You start writing, please sit down. Children, I will tell you, I used to write at your age. Start writing. You may publish, may not publish. Go on writing and put the dates on that. When you observe, writing is nothing but observation. When you observe something, come back and write a good essay. Write an essay, good or bad. Go on writing and slowly you go on improving. And then you read a lot. For a writer, it's very essential to read a lot. Then you can understand many things. So I tell all of you, read a lot, see less TV, read a lot. Write whatever you feel, keep it. And after 3-4 years, read again. Then you have grown up, then you will understand. Do it in a very young age. By the time you are, some are very born writers, they are different. Normal people, you write and after 4-5 years, you know how to write it. Okay, next.
Ma'am, you write so beautifully. So, like, who inspired you or what inspired you to write?
No, always I used to read and write. That was my domain. I wrote it for myself actually. Like what I told, as a child I used to write. So I wrote it for myself and then I started publishing because I write it because I enjoy writing. I see something, I feel like writing. That is all.
I think we should also let one of the grown-ups get a chance.
Okay.
At least one of them. You decide who.
Okay.
Which one? Who do
Anybody, fine.
Ma'am, how do you think that traveling in your life has influenced you, or to what extent has traveling shaped up your life to what you are today?
Yes.
And how did traveling shape your life?
Of course, a lot. Actually, travel opened up my ajnana. There are a lot of wrong concept which gave me, which I removed it through traveling. For example, I traveled to Pakistan. I traveled to Bangladesh. They are our neighbors, but we never traveled due to various reasons. But when I traveled and came back, many experiences really. I wrote 3 articles on that: line of separation, etc. In The Old Man and His God, I think, in that book. Then I traveled to Tibet. So traveling has always opened doors of knowledge to me. And so clear about what we are and where we lack. I can compare that, which country is doing well, where we are not doing well, and why we are not doing well. So traveling is always a great lesson. In life, I always tell, you must travel, you must read, you must experience some difficulties in life. It is not, you should always have all the comforts. You should have some difficulties in life, because continuous success makes a person arrogant. Continuous failures makes a person diffident. Occasional failure and fair amount of success makes a person mature. So you must undergo some difficulties, some helplessness, some travel, and travel with minimum money at times, and observe people, be sympathetic to others. Together makes you very mature person. Yes, please. Yes, beta. Yeah.
Ma'am, I am Shoresin Mathur. I am from Nirja Modi School. Ma'am, I want to know that what is your message to the children who love your books like us?
It's fascinating how the audience is divided into your children readers and your grown-up
adult readers. Okay. Children readers read more. I told no, read more, see less TV, read more, and of course, you have to play everything, then write something. That really helps you.
Ma'am, I am trying to write a book, but I can't get some ideas.
Okay, whatever you feel, write it and keep it. Don't try to publish right now. Just give time. Okay? Please sit down.
That gentleman has been up for a...
Who's the gentleman? Yes.
Hello. What should be the limit of the donations?
Limit of the?
Donations of our income.
No, I didn't. Limit of
income, what should be the limit of the donations?
Donation. Okay. That is left to you. How can I tell you what is the limit? See, please sit down. For some people, giving 1 rupee is difficult, even though they may earn lakhs or crores. For some people, if you earn thousands, giving 100 is not difficult. See, it depends on your compassion. But again, what I want to tell you is, you should not donate so much money that your family gets into trouble. You should never do that. You have to look after your family, keep sufficient money for your family, then you should do. Donation is not always money. Please, many people have a wrong concept. Donation means money. No. Give your good ideas. Is it not a donation? When somebody is in difficulty, go and console them. Is it not difficulty? Helping fellow human being is philanthropy. Love your fellow human beings and help them whatever way you can. Money need not be part of it at all at times. That is philanthropy. Like my grandmother, who conducted deliveries, never gave any money to anybody, but she helped them when they were in difficult positions. And I have written, please sit down, I have written an article, I don't remember which, in that. There was a lady who had a sympathetic ear. She will listen to everybody's difficulty. She said, God has given ears not to wear the diamond earring, but to be sympathetic to someone's difficulties. Oh, I don't have time, your difficulties I can't hear. No. So, philanthropy means loving the fellow human beings and helping them whatever best I have in mind. Okay. Next. Now, one more person. Everybody should have that. Yes.
Ma'am, I'm Gitanjali Rajkarya from Nirja Modi School. So I just wanted to ask you, I've read your book, The Day I Stopped Drinking Milk. Could you, that chapter, Bhagirathi, you've written it, could you actually tell me what happened? Because...
Chitra story?
Yeah.
But
I stopped drinking milk. She
no,
wants
there are two stories. Chitra or milk? Which one?
Milk. The milk.
Milk?
Yeah.
Okay. I have given in that book, but however I'll condense and tell you. Normally I know 7-8 Indian languages. Please sit down. And many languages I understand but I cannot speak. Oriya I can understand but I cannot speak. Gujarati I can understand but I cannot speak. So I was working in Orissa, and I went to somebody's house. It was pouring, and there was a man. It's a fisherman's hut, and that fellow he asked me, "Do you want to drink milk?" Always there's a sign, no. And I said no. Tea, coffee. I said no. Milk. I said okay. He told his wife, "You give her a glass of milk." And his wife told that old lady has a grey hair, no brain. because we are so poor, I have only one glass of milk, which I have kept it for my child. How can I give that milk to her? And that time I realized I became which I realized what they are talking, but he was not aware, I can understand. That time I realized that I am an expensive guest to poor people. So as a rule, when I go, particularly in area, poor area, I say, I don't drink milk at all, because I don't want to be taxing anyone, you know. So the day I stopped drinking milk is on that. Yes. Okay.
So many
Yes,
questions,
kids.
so
Yes,
many
yes.
hands.
Chalo, chalo. Ask. I find it very hard to say no to children.
Ma'am, which book you like most when you were a child?
What I did as a
Which
child.
book did you like most when you were a
Oh,
child?
sit down, sit down. Okay, I used to like every book actually. Every book I used to read. And I came from a small town, we had a small library. I read all the books. But I used to like more of biographies I used to like. Like I remember my first reading was a Gandhiji biography, M.C. Chagla's biography. I used to love biography always. Okay, thanks. Yes, beta, fast. It's very hard to say no to children, you know. You can say no to adults.
Do you met Hassan?
Do I make?
Hassan.
Say that again, I didn't. Give us your name also. What's your name?
Pranav.
Okay, what is the question?
Do you met Hassan?
Oh, Hassan, the late Latif Hassan. Oh, my hero, one of the books. Okay, I did meet Hassan. Okay, I know. There is one column on the Hassan. One who used to come late to college. Same Hassan? Yes. Hassan, please sit down. Hassan used to come late to college, and I told him why you should not be late. I did meet Hassan later in life. I did meet, and he did, you know, he improved and he changed. He was a changed person. Okay, I forgot about Hassan.
How well everybody in the audience, especially the young people, they remember every detail
Yeah, I
of
forgot
your
about
books.
it.
It's lovely.
Okay, one girl, you know. Okay.
What's your name, young lady?
My name is Manasvi and I'm from SMS school. I want to ask you that how did you got the thought of writing books?
How did I?
How did you get
What the habit of writing books?
Yes.
No, I used to write essays in the school, and teachers used to say, oh, you have written a nice essay. Then I'll keep it at home. So whenever my mother was a teacher, so she used to take me out for seeing a historical place. I'll come back and write my journey, how I went by trains, what I saw. So whenever I go for a holidays anywhere, I'll come back and write how I spent my holidays. So always my expression, whenever I do anything, come back and write it. So I went on writing as a child, not for publishing. Suppose I attend a wedding, I will write what I saw in the wedding. You know, so I used to go on piling up every year what I like. And then it became a habit for me to write.
We have just 5 minutes left.
Okay, last one
I think
question.
2 questions.
Okay, 2 questions. Some adult. Okay.
Ma'am, I am a teacher, and from past 20 years I am guiding students across 200 countries. And from past 5 years we are facing a main problem in our country that from early childhood, even parents want that their child must shine in their school and society due to competitions. Earlier competitions were there only for engineering and medical, but right from class 2nd or 3rd, parents are pressurizing children for shining in competitions. Just your message for society.
Yeah, I know many a times we parents dream our children should succeed our dreams, which we have dreamt and have not been successful. Because all of us dream, all dreams may not be come true, but we dream through our children and we pressurize them. Actually, I was going, working in a hospital, they told me, it's very alarming, there are children who suffer from stroke nowadays. I said, why? Strokes were meant for old people in old age. They said, no, the pressure of parents and schooling and competition making them either a mental nervous breakdown or a paralytic attack. Please understand, your children cannot be your dreams. Our dreams and failures are ours. Children, just because they are your children, they should not inherit your dreams. They should run their own marathon. And if you put them under pressure, their performance will be much less. So I always feel, whatever is there, Your child should be happy. He should be in the right path. That is important. He should or she should be happy, and you should guide them. And everybody has their own ability. A person can carry 1 kg of weight. With little pressure, 1.5 kg of weight. But if you pressure to carry 10 kg of weight, then you are cruel to your children. Please see that as much as possible. Don't make your children as your dream fulfiller. Allow them to bloom on their own. Last question.
The last question now. Who is going to be asking the last question? Look around,
Anybody is fine. Okay.
Look at that little...
Okay, anyone, give it to this person. Okay, fine. Fine, tell me.
The last. Let her do that, and after that,
Okay,
if we can give the mic there.
Hello,
to the-
ma'am. My name is Vedika Agarwal from Rukmani Billa Modern High School. What, according to you, is your best work that you have written in your whole life?
No, it's hard for me. Please sit down. It's hard for me because you go and ask your mother, whose child you love the most. For every mother, her own children, all children are almost same. But it's very hard, but still I'll make an effort. I think House of Cards. It was the toughest for me to write. In a 25-year span, the change of life, the effect of money, and very complex characters. And I consider it one of the toughest novel I felt. And I was exhausted when I finished that novel. Otherwise, almost all are equal.
I've enjoyed the House
House
of
of Cards.
Okay, there's the last question.
One. Yes, beta.
What inspires you to cast your characters in the books?
What I do with the characters?
What inspires you to cast the characters in your books?
What inspires you to cast the characters in
No, I don't try anything. They come on their own. When I decide to write a story, all of them will appear in front of me, and I go on describing them. I don't make any extra effort to push a character, say this is the value of life, etc. I don't do that. It should be as natural as a bud blooms, a rain comes, a thunder, a lightning strikes, as simple, as natural as it is. Okay.
On
Thank
that
you.
note, my only comment is I get scared when anybody talks about rain and thunder here because we've suffered it the last 2 days.
I do.
But I think we need to give a big hand to her. For her courage, her optimism, and her intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed the session as much as you have enjoyed, or even more I have enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Sudha. Thank you so much, Namita, for what was an absolutely amazing session for an age range that I don't think the Jaipur Literature Festival has had before, right from the school children to the adults. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session, which will start at 12:30, is the father of history, Tom